It is Beyond the Barracks. Yep, it's Monday night again as I sit here with Coach Drayton, and we have a Lee Glaze sighting on site, man. How about that? The Hall of Famer has made the trip down to hang out with us on Beyond the Barracks. It's presented by Cutwater Spirits. We're live as always from Over the Horizon Brewing. It's great to have all you with us, those of you that are here, those of you that join us via the video medium, audio medium. Look, we're glad to have all of you as we move ahead in what has been kind of a tough sled, Coach, the last couple of weeks, certainly, Citadel football season. On one hand, you're in all these games. You're battling your butts off. You're right there. Competitiveness is not a big issue, but, boy, this last one, I don't know how to unpack this. For 3 quarters of it, you got everything you could ever want, and then the last quarter, it kind of all slipped away. Yeah.
Not just 3 quarters. But it was 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter when the tide turned. I tell you, it's tough. We do have a 24-hour rule. Whether you win or lose, you have to flush the previous game, and we have to move on to the next opponent. Now, obviously, I know you want to unpack this a little bit more, so we can do that. Right. But we're moving on to Western Carolina.
Right, and that's all you can do because the only thing that matters is what's in the windshield, not the rearview mirror. But what do you take away, and how do you bounce back from a confident, all those different things? How do you move forward and take the positives from this and then apply them at Western Carolina?
Yeah, so we always take the positives. And even when we have mistakes, you've heard me say this before, if you make a mistake and we never do it again, it's not a mistake, it's a lesson learned.
Right. And the Dogs had this game get away, and so many of the things that you were looking to accomplish in this one, you got off to a good start, you built a 2-score lead, and honestly, this is as well as I've seen a Citadel team play easily through 3 quarters, and like you said, 3 quarters plus of the game.
Yeah. Well, we had missed opportunities. The score was 10-0. We had the ball in the plus range. We decided to run a fake field goal. We've executed this fake field goal multiple times, and we don't. That was an opportunity to get either a fresh set of downs or to score. When you look at the film, he may have walked in. So that was a missed opportunity. We had offense on the plus side of the field in the third quarter. We didn't execute there. And defensively, we shut down right at the end. We started pressing. This is the first time that this team has had to play from this vantage point, from a lead outside of North Greenville. So it was new territory for the players and the coaches as well, the whole organization.
I want to speak to the tempo change about midway through the third quarter. Furman obviously down by a couple of scores, and they decided to go with a quick tempo. It seemed like that enabled them to get into a rhythm, and we just couldn't quite get that momentum back. Your thoughts on that?
No, you're absolutely correct, and you asked that, or you mentioned that at the radio show. I want to apologize publicly. This guy gets the worst out of me because he catches me at the wrong time. But you're absolutely correct. They went with the tempo change. We did not match the tempo. Especially the go-ahead score for them after we recovered the strip sack for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, we did not rebound after that.
Right.
And that was bad on our part. And when they went with tempo, we never matched it at that point. I probably should have spent the timeout defensively instead of saving them for the offense in case they scored, just to slow everything down, let them catch their breath. But that was also part of why it took so long. It was a giant pause in the game, too. I was trying to slow everything down just so we could come under control, but I probably should have used an additional timeout during that drive.
Obviously, you can't do anything about the way all that was handled, but I've got to tell you, it was baffling to us because where it comes to these, and we're not going to bemoan this because you should have won the game anyway, but where it comes to these things, whatever happened to undisputed or undisputable, all that stuff, clear and convincing? Because the replays that they showed in the stadium were anything but. I don't see, in other words, to change a call.
Absolutely. You're correct. I'm glad this is not the NFL because I could get fined.
Right.
But I can say my piece. The truth of the matter is the ruling on the field was a touchdown.
Right.
It should have stood. I believe that players, they tell the truth. If you watch their quarterback, the way he laid on the ground and he was just he was beating himself up because he knew his arm was not coming forward. Because if it was, he would have been in front of that official's face. He would have been pleading his case, and it's visual. It's on the film. If you look at the body mechanics of their team from that end zone view, they all knew what it was as well. But you know what? Football does not owe us anything.
Right.
It is one of the greatest teachers of life lessons, and our guys, unfortunately, are going through some life lessons right now.
A tough pill to swallow, no doubt about it. Every angle we saw in the press box, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it going forward. Nonetheless, though, I joked because you've probably heard on social media over the last few weeks, anytime there's ever a call against the University of South Carolina, the officials can't make it out of the stadium. I said if that had happened at Williams-Brice and it cost Carolina a game, those guys would have never made it out of the stadium.
Right.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with that. I tell you what, though, we do have a good relationship with the head of officials. But golly, they're human, and
right.
It is our job at the end of the day, and this is what we tell our guys, to overcome any obstacle that's put in front of us. We have to eliminate the officials in addition to eliminating our opponents. So we're going to close ranks, we're going to keep marching, and we're going to move on.
And you take on a Western Carolina team this week. It does sound like we're more likely to have at least closer to normalcy situation up there. Gary Ayers told me yesterday it looks like all systems are go to play up there. They did play up there last Saturday without fans, but their radio announcer yesterday told me that it looks as though we should be able to play, and they plan to have people there. So as close to a normal road game, and a very tough opponent, by the way, one that we'll get into a little bit more later, but one that was one of those picked to potentially win the conference before.
Absolutely. Now that's news to me. Before I got here, speaking with our DFO, it was our understanding that fans was not going to be in attendance. We are actually our DFO is in talks with their personnel. We're actually going to do some type of drive. We're going to take supplies, and not just anything. We're asking, what do you need now? And it's not only for the school, it's not only for the football team, but it's also for the community. So whatever the community needs, we want to take a shipment of things up there and make sure they have it, because at the end of the day, it's about us and we, and football is just a game.
Yeah, and by the way, I should point out that the things that Gary and I were discussing, that's really just speculation. Of course, he didn't have any official word. He said that it wasn't very well received, but you certainly understand, too, why you wouldn't have people at a game, just given what had happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. In 2020, during COVID, I was in NFL stadiums, and we didn't have any fans.
Right.
And I actually liked it. It was pretty awesome because I could yell out there, tell that individual what to do, through our own code words, and it just worked out perfectly. So I enjoyed it.
We've had some pretty good success against Western Carolina at Western Carolina. Is that part of your vernacular when you go into this game? I can remember back in the mid-'80s. Remember when Rambo first came out?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
We used to go to a movie every Friday night, and we went to go see Rambo First Blood the night before we played Western Carolina. And we came out and scored 24 points in the first 15 plays and just wiped them off the map that day. So I've got some great memories up there about playing well at Western Carolina, and we've played well fairly recently.
Right.
So I don't know what it is about that trip, but it seems to fit us well.
Yeah, Andy Clausen, he wears many hats. He sets up our travel for that trip. We're excited about going on the mountain. Last time we were up on the mountain, Grayson Underwood was our quarterback. No one saw him coming, and he led us to a victory. So we may reach back and dip into those archives as well, and you may see some flashes of what happened a few years back.
Last reference to that game, and it would only be that there were some things that went very well for you, right, according to the way that you would have wanted them to go for so much of that game. how do you take those things with you to be better this week? You're always on a constant evolving, getting better process.
Absolutely. You're referring to the Furman game.
Right.
So one of our keys to victory is to start fast. We did that on offense. Now, we want to score touchdowns and not field goals. We did that on defense. I think it was a 3-and-out. Absolutely, it was a 3-and-out. So we did it. We achieved that key. Then we won the middle eight. The middle eight is such an important stat, and really, it was the quarterback for the Colts, Peyton Manning, who really harped on that stat years ago, and now everybody's utilizing it and working through that. So we won the middle eight, and last but not least, we have to finish. And that is what we're harping on right now. We're going to take those first two keys and then add to it with the finish.
Well, and arguably 3 times we've had an opportunity to do that and haven't quite been able to get over that. But learning to win is a skill.
Yes,
it's a skill that you develop, and then you implement it on the field.
Correct.
It's not something that just happens. I know you've experienced that before. I've been on teams that have experienced that before. You gotta believe that it can happen, and then it's almost like you can will it to happen.
Yes,
but it's a mentality.
Absolutely, it's a mentality. And through our recruiting, not to discriminate against anyone, but we want to recruit young men from winning programs. It's something about that, knowing how to win, and it's bigger than lifting weights. It's bigger than a height, a weight, a speed, and a 40. Winners have something in here that you can't coach, and so you're absolutely correct.
Right. You're not going to beat me.
That's right.
That's right. You are not going to beat me.
That's right.
Another thing a positive that continued was good play on special teams. You know, for one, you get the muff punt and you have that. Really had a chance at another one. 2 consecutive punts, didn't get that one, and then Ben Barnes has been really consistent for you. You know, 2 of them that are 40 plus, one of them 45 plus, and he goes 3 for 3 points at a premium. So he's been real valuable.
Absolutely. Special teams is playing at a high level right now, and they better, quite frankly. We feel really good about our special teams coordinator, Tony Coxum, who's a former head coach, who coached in the National Football League, who has a Super Bowl. He's a local young man, graduate of Stall High School. So they better, or he'll get ran out of town. So
I'll tell you what, every time I go out there on Tuesdays to do pregame pieces, he's always the first guy out there on the field, too.
That's right. Sitting
out there on that bench, twirling that whistle around, waiting on everybody. Hey, so we've got these tickets for the Samford game on the 26th. That, of course, at Johnson Haygood. We got to figure out how to give these away as we do this show today.
Sounds like a plan. We have a Hall of Famer. Maybe we need to ask a question about our good friend.
No, I don't know.
Lean on the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So we've got a great show for you today, though. Danny Lewis, the tight end coach, is here. We're going to talk about the Bulldog tight ends a little bit. Jackson Eskurka, the quarterback coach, is here. We're going to talk a little bit about the QBs. And also Russell Triplett is coming by. Is that correct? Russell Triplett's coming by. We're going to talk a little. He's a football and baseball.
I'm going to enjoy that. We're going to have a good time with Russell.
Yeah. So a lot of good stuff coming up on Beyond the Barracks. We are live at Over the Horizon Brewing, as we are just about every Monday, as the Dogs now at 2-4 look to regroup and go up to Western Carolina, try to get after the Catamounts and get that 3rd win of the year. We will come back with more of Beyond the Barracks after this. It is presented by Cutwater Spirits. Tough for me to say, apparently, one of those days. But again, live at Over the Horizon Brewing, and we're back with more after this. You're listening to the Citadel Bulldogs Radio Network. at Over the Horizon Brewing. It's Monday. It's Beyond the Barracks. We talk Citadel football. We talk Citadel athletics as the Dogs come off a tough one against Furman over the weekend. Brian Giffen with Lee Glaze, and our guest now is Jackson Eskerka, the quarterback coach at the Citadel. And let's talk a little bit about these quarterbacks. Obviously, JB's been the guy and comes in with quite a pedigree. He probably would be the first to tell you he hadn't had his best game as yet, but he's also managing an offense that's been kind of finding its way here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really happy to have Jonathan with us. From a leadership standpoint, a maturity standpoint, he's done an amazing job for us as a program, not just as an offense. Brings a good work ethic every day. He would absolutely say what you just said about the game. We all want to win. We all can do things better, but we were right back there on Sunday attacking it.
Quarterback coach, right?
Yes, sir.
I played that a little bit back in the day. Tell me about your prototype. What kind of quarterback are you recruiting? Right now we got a pretty good freshman that I'd like to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kobe Jenkins, I believe is his name, sitting on the Tompkins. I'm sorry, sitting on the bench, and probably will be there for a while. But he's got quite a skill set. Is that the type of quarterback you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we want to recruit the dual threat guys that can run and pass. And Coach was talking about guys from winning programs. He took Stockbridge High School in Georgia to a state championship appearance last year. Really tough competitor. Like we talked about, the skill set that he has, being a runner, being really dynamic, one of the best athletes in the program. Ball comes off his hand great. He's a lefty. He rips it. And my favorite thing about Kobe is his football acumen, how football comes to him. It comes to him extremely naturally. That was one of the first things, just meeting him and talking football with him, as you do when you recruit the quarterbacks, that even if he didn't know something, he picked it up. He could relate it to his football experience.
How much can a guy like him learn from guys like Jonathan Bennett, that's been in the game now? He's a grad student. He's been in it a while. Dustin Fletcher's another guy that has some eligibility left, but another guy that's got a track record and kind of has some history. How positive can those guys be in the development of a young guy like Kobe?
I think they're instrumental. I think the quarterback room is the weirdest dynamic in sports because only one guy plays, but we have to do it all together. It takes all the guys in the room, and so he needs to be a sponge to JB and Dustin and their experiences and what they're putting on tape and grow from that. And he really does a good job. He sits in meetings, he takes stuff to heart, and when he gets his time to go out there and practice and play, he improves every day.
I'm interested. How does the game plan? If Jonathan goes down first series of the game, just hypothetically, how does the game plan change when Dustin comes in, or does it change?
I don't think it changes much at all. I think Dustin prepares extremely hard. Dustin works extremely hard on a daily basis. Me and Coach Drayton were talking about the other day about what outstanding individual he is. And so, when his number gets called, we're going to plug him in there and we'll roll. And, he's a big frame guy. He might do a couple things downhill that JB might not always do, where we want JB to throw the ball a little bit more or something. But in terms of an overall game plan, those guys plug and play and we'll roll.
Cov and I talked about this a little bit on the pregame show last week. I'd like to get your take on it from the position you're in as a quarterback's coach, and that is the collective confidence impact of a guy like JB to lead this offense. How much does the team have? We can get this done because we've got this guy leading us. How much of that is there?
Yeah, I think you saw it really like that first game against Charleston Southern when all 11 on the field played a role in getting us back there, but he was able to stay calm and make big plays. He'd be the first guy to tell you that he's not a savior or anything like that. He just comes in to do his job, but definitely, as an offense, when you have a guy back there that's confident and experienced, that brings everybody up. It brings the belief up. So from that standpoint, it's been really good having him in the program.
You go to school out in San Diego State. You're now living in Charleston, South Carolina, center of the universe as far as we're concerned. Give us the path from San Diego State, from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. How'd you get here?
And from Minnesota originally, so I've lived all over the country now in a short amount of time. So I was a graduate student at San Diego State, and the quarterback coach there, Blaine Morgan, got the head coaching job at Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas, and was good enough to give me an opportunity to be an on-field coach for him. So I went there for 3 years with Coach Morgan, and we were in Texas at Lamar. And then when Coach Drayton got the head coaching job here at the Citadel, he talked to Coach Covington. Coach Covington referred me to Coach Drayton, and Coach Drayton was good enough to give me an opportunity, which I can't thank him enough for. And especially in this profession, when you need people on your staff that you can trust and you know,
right.
and bringing in somebody that he didn't know, shows the trust he had in Coach Covington. And then, he's inspired me to be the best coach I can for him because of that.
We talk about this stuff all the time. The sports business is kind of a big fraternity in a lot of ways. We certainly run across our contemporaries everywhere, but on your side of it, you run across guys all the time that now you're coaching against that you were once on the same side. In other words, you know a lot of people well beyond where you are here, and there are connections you make all over the place, and you end up connected to guys all over the country that you work with, coach against, whatever it is over time. Relationships are a big part of it.
Absolutely. And, it's funny, like, when you kind of grow up, you might be a fan of a team, but then you get in the profession and you're really just rooting for your friends. You want your friends to do well, whatever level they're coaching at. And my dad's a high school football coach. I check up with his games every week. And, everybody across the country that I've met in the profession just want the best for them, because you never know what's going to come back around to you too, right? It's just that fraternity like you talked about.
Talk a little bit about in-game. I know most of the plays come from the press box, I'm sure, and that window right next door to us that's all blocked off. But how much input do you have? Because, a lot of times players will come off the field and say, I remember many times saying, this guy can't cover me. He can't, we got to run, how much input do you have into that process?
Yeah, my biggest role is helping Coach Owens, Coach Covington call the game, put them in positions to be successful based on what I'm seeing. Communication with JB when he comes off, we get on the headset every series. He tells me what he's seeing. I tell him what I saw, make those adjustments. Coach Covington, Coach Owens, those guys have put a lot of trust in me, and they believe this, like suggestions and things like that I give them. But a lot of it too is pre-planned. It's, hey, you're looking for this, you're looking for that. Let me know if, then, and doing that kind of stuff for those guys to support them making the calls.
It's been a fun offense to watch in a lot of ways. I mean, this last game's a good example. You went a little bit old school with some of these option tosses, these pitches to the outside, and they were very effective. And obviously, the direct snap plays are another thing. So you've got weapons in a number of different spots. It's just a matter of how best to leverage all these guys and put it all together for the 4 quarters.
Absolutely, and we come into the beginning of the week like this, and the number one thing we're talking about is don't stop the creativity, don't stop the flow, and then kind of boiling it down to what do we want to run versus this specific defense? What do our kids do well? How can we put them in position to be successful? And so that's where we come up with that kind of stuff,
right.
and get those guys, the direct snaps, the running backs, things of that nature.
We've had a lot of success against Western Carolina in the past up there in Cullowhee. I know it's early in the week, but I know you've probably been watching film since Sunday. Any special sauce that we could look for this weekend? I know you don't want to give it away. I don't think that anybody from Western Carolina is dialed into the city tonight. They might be, but what Citadel fan going up to Cullowhee this weekend? We gonna see a similar type look, or are we going to see something maybe a little different?
Yeah. Well, you never know who's listening. You never want to give
Right.
bulletin board information,
Well, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we kind of know who we are on offense. We'll have our wrinkles like we've done every week. You talked about we're getting more of the option pitched last week, and that was what was hitting for us. And so it's a constant evaluation of what can we do the best to be successful against this defense. It's an athletic bunch. They're going to move around a little bit, so we'll have to have a plan for that.
Are you a gadget play guy?
Danny Lewis is coming up next. He is the specials guy.
He's the gadget play guy?
Yeah.
We used to love the gadget plays.
Yeah.
We'll save that for him.
Yeah. So we're going to have some fun with that when Danny Lewis, the tight ends coach, comes up here next. We're visiting with Jackson Eskurka, the quarterbacks coach with the Citadel, as we get ready now, as we're live at Over the Horizon Brewing Monday night. It is Beyond the Barracks. We get ready for the Dogs in Western Carolina. That is a 2:30 kickoff on Saturday at Cullowhee, and we'll be on the air with pregame coverage at 1:30 from the mountains. And honestly, we don't know what to expect going up there, other than the fact that we are playing up there would tell you, A, we can get there, and B, it's at least okay enough you can get a football game in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you just hope that the situation for everybody impacted is improving and they're getting the things that they need. And, we're privileged to play this game and have it be a distraction for us. And, hopefully if we can get fans there and people can get distracted from kind of the events that are going on around them, that'd be great.
Right.
We are sports entertainment at the end of it, and the fans are important. So.
Well, we're looking forward to it, man. I love that trip up there. I don't know how we're going to get there, but we will find a way there, and we'll find a way back. So we'll look forward to seeing you maybe down on the sideline.
Absolutely.
And hopefully a big blue Bulldog win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, the Dogs lost a tough one on Saturday, and they look ahead because that's all you really can control as they take on Western Carolina this Saturday. Jackson Eskurka, the quarterback's coach, thanks for coming up, man.
Yeah, thank you for having
Thanks
me.
for coming to Over the Horizon Brewing tonight, too, and we will certainly look forward to talking to you more as the season progresses. Right now, we will take a timeout, and as promised by Jackson, Danny Lewis, the tight ends coach, will come up here next. We're going to talk gadget plays, we're going to talk tight ends, and we're going to have more fun. This is Beyond the Barracks. We're live at Over the Horizon Brewing, and it's presented by Cutwater Spirits. Back with more after this on the Citadel Bulldogs Radio Network. It is Monday night, and we're at Over the Horizon Brewing talking Citadel athletics tonight. Brian Giffen with the Citadel Hall of Famer Lee Glaze seated here to my immediate right. It's great to have you down here, man. You know, getting to do this on Saturdays with you is just not enough, so the Monday's kind of a cool thing to add on for a week.
Yeah, that road goes both ways,
right.
And I'll be burning it back up going the other way tonight.
Right.
But fortunately, I don't have to come too deep into Charleston to get to this is a great place here
right.
Over the Horizon Brewery.
Yeah, we have fun with this every week. Well, our guest now, speaking of fun, is Danny Lewis, the tight ends coach at the Citadel. And obviously, Coach, you know, we won't dwell on it. We'll talk a little bit about the game that you guys come off of. But I guess, you know, the only thing you can focus on is what lies ahead, because you can't do anything as tough as it was about what happened.
No, you're a little numb and punch drunk when that thing's over with. And, you know, your first thoughts are to get back in the locker room and check on your players.
Right.
And see what frame of mind they're in. Then you try to sleep it off, and you're professionals. You go back to work and you get ready for the next one. Our young men in the locker room they're resilient. They bounce back a lot better than us old guys do. But by the time we hit the practice field on Sunday evening, it's on to the next one.
Right. Yeah, there's really no other option. I'd love to talk about a couple guys in your tight end room. Saul Diaz, for one. This is a guy that's a converted linebacker. You know, he goes from covering tight ends and trying to tackle tight ends to now being one. Had a big catch for a first down for you Saturday, touchdown earlier this year.
Right.
I'd also like to talk a little bit after that about Elijah Bass, who is not only an interesting story, but he's also an active duty Marine.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He's I think someone told us the other day, and please don't quote me on this, that he's the only active military personnel playing college football this season. So he's just a phenomenal young man. Bottom line, the world needs more Eli Basses.
Right.
He's not only fantastic for our school, but just what he does for us in our locker room. And
We got to find a way to get that guy in the end zone.
100%. How about a couple times?
Well, at least once.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be one of those asterisk stats that you'll end up giving tickets away for one day. But that would be cool. That'd be cool to see.
I think a lot of that young man, and he's been phenomenal for us this year.
Let's talk about Saul a little bit more. You know, he's been around the program for a number of years. Linebacker last year, certainly was a line. Now, he played tight end in high school, so you knew that it was kind of in the DNA somewhere. But can you talk a little or address a little of that process? Because now all of a sudden you've got blocking assignments. You've got, you know, stuff in the route tree that's for you. There are a lot of things about transitioning from one side of the ball to the other. But in the end, it's also just being a football player, too.
It is, and he is definitely that. He's extremely bright. He's got a very good football IQ. High character young man. His folks have done a phenomenal job with him. He was playing linebacker for us and getting snaps, but we had a need in my room and felt like he could come in and fight for a starting position, and he's taken to it. I thought he had a really good spring. We knew right away that he was probably going to stick in our room. I kept telling him, next Saul, now we get into the season, you're not going back, buddy.
Right,
and,
right.
So he's phenomenal. He's been a pleasure.
Tight ends, we just played a team that just absolutely thrives with their tight ends. They have for 50 years, 6'5", 6'5", 6'7", and 6'3". Tell me, you know, we talk about game plans, we talk about infiltrating the tight ends. It really kind of depends upon the style of offense I think you're trying to play, whether they are actually a wide tackle or like a smaller wide receiver. Your thoughts on how you'd like to see us use them best?
Well, my room is actually, our tight end room, it's actually 3 positions in one. So you have your traditional tight end, your Y, who plays with his hand in the ground.
Right.
And he's got to have a certain skill set because he's got to block down on defensive tackles and reach defensive ends. And then you step him off the ball. Now he's a fullback and he's got a lead block on linebackers. So you've got to have that toughness and the physicality to play inside the box. Right. Then you have to go out and split out and be the number 3 receiver. Now you got to be athletic enough to make plays in space. So I got all shapes, all sizes in my room. For us, you have to be able to do 2 of the 3.
Right.
Defenses are smart. If you can only do one, then the defense knows, hey, this is what they're doing when that young man's in. So we try to mix and match schematically what we're doing with our tight end personnel. And you got to be a bright young man, because not only are you involved in the run schemes, but also your pass protections and catching the ball down the field. So those guys have a fun week of practice. How about that? It's never the same old drills for those guys.
All right, so now when Jackson was up here, we were talking about gadget plays a little bit, and he said you were the guy whose brain we need to pick about the gadget plays.
Yeah, I love Jackson. I think the world of him, but it's a group effort. It's not your traditional gadget plays. I'm an old man, just the old reverse these days. Now it's unbalanced, hiding a tight end. It's maybe a reverse pass, throw it back to the quarterback. Every week you'll see something different. Yes, we're trying to find a cheap one. Yes, we need chunk plays.
Right.
But we also need juice. Those things get our sideline pumped up and fired up, and you feed off of that. It's a game of momentum.
Right.
It's Monday Night Football here in a couple hours, and you'll watch a bunch of grizzly old men feed off of momentum. So you can only imagine what a bunch of 18 to 21-year-olds do. Mm-hmm. So we need those type plays. And it also helps practice. Everybody gets fired up about, okay, who's going to get the trick play this week? So, Jackson has more to do with that than...
So they're Jackson's if they work, and they're yours if they don't work?
100%.
Is that how it works?
100%. 100%.
It's funny how that is. It's curious. Now, of course, last year, the first year, Coach Drayton's regime here, you transition away from what was a triple option-based offense, and obviously that's a continuing process this year and much further along. But and of course, a lot of the guys you had that were tight ends on the roster that were here last year are now gone, but Coach laughs when he talks about certain guys on the team that had to learn how to catch the ball. Yeah. And there's an elementary thing that, even though it's college football, there's kind of an elementary element there that get the basics taken care of first. And that starts with, hey, at times you're going to have the opportunity to catch the ball, son, and we need you to do it.
So when I first got here, we did not have scholarship tight ends on the roster. So we were mixing and matching and picking. So Cole England, who's one of our starters, he was an offensive tackle, and that's all he's done his entire life. So then we had a young man who played, Saul, who played linebacker. So you're getting guys from different parts of the practice field to come over and learn how to put their hand in the ground and block somebody. And at the same time, oh, by the way, I'm going to throw you a pop pass. And if we get real good at it, maybe we'll throw them a trick play. Here we go.
Right. Hey, I heard that. We were a little more efficient this week with the short stuff, the little hook routes in between linebackers and that type of thing. Dropped a couple. Yeah. I mean, but that we knock on wood. But we've heard Coach Drayton talk about having to teach them how to catch football. But a little more efficient. I like to see that from the press box. I'm thinking that's got to be maybe more of the game plan going forward. If you can pick up that easy 6 or 7 like that, it makes everything a lot easier.
Take what the defense is giving you, and if they're going to give you that 5-yard chest pass on a hitch or a spot route over the ball, then that's something that this offense desperately needs to take advantage of for the next 6 weeks.
Yep. Amen, brother.
Now, we are at the halfway point of the season as the Dogs take on Western Carolina this Saturday. That game is at Cullowhee. We'll be on the air with pregame coverage at 1:30 right here on 102.1 The City and 92.1 FM. Also, we've got these tickets to give away. We also Russell Triplett, the baseball coach, will be up next. But
I've got your question.
All right, go.
All right. So, in honor of Russell Triplett coming up here in just a little bit, if you can tell us how many Southern Conference baseball championships the Citadel has, whether regular season or tournament, these 2 tickets are yours.
Right. How many SoCon championships, baseball, does the Citadel have?
That's right.
And that includes regular season and
tournament.
The tournament. Okay. Easy enough. Right here, we'll take a break. First, we're going to say thanks, though, to Danny Lewis for coming up here and hanging out with us for a couple of minutes. Coach, we'll see you in Cullowhee, and let's go up there and get a W. All right.
Thank you.
I'm Brian Giffen. He's Lee Glaze, and we are live. And yeah, that headset, I should have backed that off when Coach backed out. But we are live at Over the Horizon Brewing. It is Monday night. It is Beyond the Barracks, and it's presented by Cutwater Spirits. Back with Coach Triplett to talk some baseball on the other side of this timeout. You're listening to the Citadel Bulldogs Radio Network. Brewing. It is Beyond the Barracks, our Monday night coaches show, talking Citadel athletics here as the Dogs prepare now for week 7 of the football season, take on Western Carolina Saturday. 2:30 kickoff at Cullowhee. Lee and I will be on the air with pregame coverage at 1:30 from the mountains in Western Carolina. I'm Brian Giffen with Lee Glaze, and we're pleased now to be joined by the new Citadel baseball coach, Russell Triplett. And Coach, good to have you up here with us. Obviously, we're kind of making our rounds in the department, but this is probably, other than a press conference, your first real media function here, huh?
Yeah, and this place has been unbelievable. Coaching staff, Coach Drayton, Coach Conroy. I mean, I've been around a lot of good coaches, and this guy right here is as good as I've ever been around. And I know that they're going through some different things, and it's tough to see when you're going through that, but from the outside, man, people respect it.
Right.
He's been unbelievable to me. This place has been unbelievable. It's exciting. I get excited every time I go to practice. We're trying to get to know each other out there, so but I'm learning, and I'm learning the way the Citadel works, and I'm trying to see everything for the first time, and these are things that I'm seeing for the first time, but I hope are every single year. The ring ceremony, unbelievable experience. It's what it's about. We talk about it every day. That's the goal. So to see those guys get it and go through that for the first time, it's incredible. And this place kind of, you think you know until you get in here. And the more I learn, the more I love it. I'm thankful for the opportunity, but thank you guys for having me. And I look forward to the next day. Each day I'm here.
I'm excited you're here, and Citadel baseball's got a very long and proud history. I'm part of that history, and you've just gotten your guys started. Mm-hmm. Just had your first scrimmage yesterday, I believe, right?
We did.
Against Newberry. We'll let you talk about that a little bit if you want to, but it's more about learning what you got and how do you fit those pieces together? Isn't that what it is right now?
Yeah, and a new staff, new players, everybody wants to impress their teammates and show what they can do. And I keep telling them every day, and it's not about that. We're trying to learn who we can trust, who we can count on. The physical part, the baseball things, that's what we're working on every day. And don't get caught up in that. We're trying to get to know each other. And one of our main goals for this fall is to be a better teammate at the end of the fall. So we've got several things set up throughout to try to learn each other. They got to learn me. They got to handle me. Maybe I'm too much for them at times, but I love being out there with them. I know they feel that. And we're working to get better, but at the same time, we're working to learn each other and understand. And I told them, I'm not coming in here to set the standards. We got to set the standards as a group, because it's really irrelevant what my standards are. It's what we're willing to set, and then are we going to hold each other accountable to meet those standards? So it's been going well. I think we're better now than when we started, and that's the goal is to be better each day. And as long as we stay the course, I like the direction, and we got a good group of guys. I mean, this place builds great men. So we got leaders waiting. That's awesome.
You got quite a lineage. You played up at Clemson for Jack Leggett. Of course, Jack knows. He knows Citadel baseball about as much as anybody. I played against Jack way back in the day, and you go to Newberry. You're very successful there. A lot of the things that you said in your opening press conference and in your interviews just absolutely was in the sweet spot with what Citadel people want to hear about the grit, about the fight, and about the willingness to win and to be a great teammate. Talk about your program philosophy a little bit, if you would, about what can we expect from a Russell Triplett team?
I don't want to push that question off, because this is exactly what I said. They're going to create that, and we're trying to do certain things that I believe in, that I hope they believe in. We talked the scrimmage yesterday. We want to put pressure on people and play a game that I always followed from the outside and what this place is about, and it's the bunt and do the little things, play harder, play faster, play tougher than the people you play. And I know that's a term that people throw out there all the time, but you got to do it every day. And I think the big thing we're working on right now, like I said earlier, being a good teammate, and then also today is the most important day. And I believe that if you want to win a championship, you got to want to win a championship today. You can have these goals, and they told me the goals in the program and this, and I said the goals are great, but if the work doesn't match the goals are irrelevant. And I said today's got to be the most important day. So every day when we show up, I ask them, what's the most important day of the year? And it's got to be today. And early on, I keep seeing that, certain days are more important than other days. And if we want to get to what they have goals set, what the goals that I expect coming into it, then every day's got to be the most important day. And these guys work. There is no doubt, and I respect the work they put in. We lift 4 times a week at 5:30 in the morning. They get up, they get after it. They show up each day. They've been working. We're trying to set a standard of what the expectations are every single day in the program. And it's not about yesterday when we had a scrimmage. It's not about down the road when we play Coastal, or even in the spring. I asked them today, what's the most important day of the year? Today, I said, don't just say that. Today's got to be the most important day. And the effort's there, what they do each day. They love each other, and they're working at it. We got a long ways to go. There's no doubt. I'm not saying we got it figured out in no means, but they're doing the things that it takes. We like the small ball, the bunt game. I think in the scrimmage yesterday we bunted 7 or 8 times and stole a bunch of bases and ran and put pressure and played offense. That's what I call it. People say small ball. You call it what you want to. We're trying to score more runs than another team every time we play, and I think you're trying to generate offense, and we're trying not to be one-dimensional. We play in a nice, beautiful ballpark, but it's a big ballpark, and the ball doesn't leave that park very often, which is fine. That you can be productive and play offense in that park and do some good things. So it was exciting to see them play. We've been beating up on each other for 5 weeks trying to get to know each other. It was nice to come together. Now, the other side of that was I spent 14 years with those guys, and it was tough, but to see these guys. Playing Newberry yesterday, I recruited every guy that was there. I spent up to 4 years with some of those guys in that program. So see them, it was nice, but really it's about us here. And I said it will always be more about us than the team we're playing. And we talked about that before the game, and it was a chance for us to come together and play against somebody else. Plus, I need to continue to learn these guys and watch them play each day. And it's been fun to watch. Frustrating at times, just like any coach. And, I'm going to get on them. And every day's not smooth and great, but they're working at it. They're having to adjust to me. I'm full go in practice, and then I let them play when it's time to play. But I want to be a good teammate, be Putman. That's the first thing from the outside looking at other programs here. And, what our football coach does, and Coach Drayton, is he builds men, and I really respect it from the outside. Not because I'm here, because he's going through a season right now. I mean, I've been around some really good ones. He's as good as it comes. And then Coach Conroy, he's helped me too. So learning those things and what this place is about. But, it's easy to say. We hadn't got beat yet, and I love the place and everything's all good. But when adversity hits, what are we going to do? And we're trying to build that right now. It's not about how well we fielded or hit it right now. It's, can we be a good teammate? Can we get better? Can we get to know each other? And then can we hold each other accountable to the standards that we set? It's not my standards. It's Citadel standards. And we're trying to do that every day.
We're going to bring Coach Drayton back up here because real quickly we're going to set the scene for this game that's upcoming. You got about 3.5 minutes or so. And, Coach, real quickly, of course it's a different setup in college baseball where you have fall ball and all these things that happen in the quote-unquote off season. I would guess the first fall ball is more valuable than ever for you just because you're new here and you're trying to learn everything and assemble, what is your roster now and all of that.
Yeah, we're getting to know the players. I'm lucky to come into a situation with some tremendous leadership. I'm in a school that builds leaders. And we had 6 guys get the ring last week, and those guys are showing me the ropes. They're showing me along with this guy who has a ring too, and our basketball. So I'm getting to learn. I couldn't ask for better resources. I got really no excuse. I got the resources that are there. It's my job to continue to learn and get better. But this place, man, it's you don't know. You think you know until you get in here. And every place has its struggles, but it doesn't get much better than this. And the alumni base is as strong as it comes.
Well, I really appreciate you. We're just going to let you hang out with us. We got a couple of minutes here. Coach Drayton is back up here. And you got this Western Carolina game upcoming. You and I will get into this a little bit more later in the week that we'll have in the pregame show, but just some quick thoughts on them. they were a preseason favorite. They think they were ranked like some others. So, like it is every week in the SoCon, got your hands full again.
Oh, man, we have our hands full. When you get a chance, though, you have to ask Russell the first time we met. It's a great story.
Okay. All right. We'll get into that.
Western Carolina, very, very good team. Their head coach is known for putting points on the board. If he can score 100 points on you, he will.
Yeah.
Their last 2 outings, they have averaged over 475 yards worth of offense. They have a quarterback that was preseason All-SoCon. He was Offensive Player of the Year. He was on the Walter Payton finalist list in Cole Gonzalez. He's the driving force behind their offense. We have to find a way to limit him. You can't stop a guy like this.
Right.
We have to limit him. And then they have a great running back, too. He's doing really well this year, Branson Adams. They have kind of a two-headed monster going there with the run and the pass game. So you got to pick one.
Right.
So which one do you want to stop or contain? So that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to attack them. Defensively, they're playing good ball right now. They have 2 guys in the secondary that are very, very athletic, who have a lot of accolades via stats, and then a linebacker that's pretty solid as well. So it will be a complete game. It's a fun game that we're going to participate in. I will tell you this, where they are very strong, we are very young. So this is another challenge for us to get after it and see how quick we can grow puppies into bulldogs.
All right, so we'll spend a little time talking about this as we get our pregame stuff together prior to that game. One more reminder, that is a 2:30 kickoff at Cullowhee, the Bulldogs and the Catamounts, and we'll be on the air with pregame coverage at 1:30 on the Citadel Bulldogs radio network. I want to say thanks to Jackson Eskerska. I want to say thanks to Danny Lewis. I want to say thanks to Lee Glaze, who came all the way down. Thanks to Russell Triplett. And thanks to Coach. I'll look forward to seeing you Thursday, road game.
Appreciate it.
Push everything up a day.
That's right.
Well, that'll do it for us. Thanks again to Joe Mack, and thanks again to all the folks here at Over the Horizon Brewing, too. We appreciate all of you guys that came, appreciate those of you that joined us on YouTube, and we will look forward to talking to you Saturday as the Dogs look to get that 3rd win of the year at Cullowhee. We will talk to you then. I'm Brian Giffen saying, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.